and everyone. I think that goes to me then for the chair's report, and then we'll cut back into the rest of our final agenda. So I will be brief as well. A couple things. Let me just talk also about some opportunities. And again, I think some of these Superintendent Dixon has covered, but URSA, as was mentioned, is a great opportunity. You get to hang out with people like Jason Strait and others. This is one I also got to see our former chair be recognized, spend some time with him. Lots of good people talking about the challenges of rural education. And this turned out to be a theme for me. And maybe some of you, I go to these things and I don't get to attend a single session because you have 47 great conversations going on in the hallways. And so I loved going down there, appreciate the work we do to support them. We as leadership got to go to UASBO conference, I guess they call it, as a whatever it is. It's a workshop conference. Enjoyed the three of us being able to go and hear them. And we the Utah Association of Business Administrators. What's the S? State school.
No, it's School Business Administrators.
State of the school, the BAs, the folks with the money, and we talked to them about financial questions, and they brought up some good things that we've been following up on with Deputy Superintendent Jones. Some of the things they brought up were challenges of SPED. We talked about carryover money, talked about full funding at the state and federal level, we talked about transportation, talked about retirement issues and coming back into the system. So great, I did. I love the SPED. So great opportunity. And we told them, there were some interesting things that they brought up that were news to each other. And so, you have these conversations, things come out and gives us good opportunity to talk about policy and how we're supporting them. So that was a lot of fun. I got invited as the chair to go to the Utah Teacher Fellows session. I think they had a couple days worth. I had one opportunity to go on my own, meet with them down in the basement. John Arthur and some of the Tabitha Pacheco, great work the Utah Teachers Fellows do. I was on the charter board, was part of the committee that chose the Teacher of the Year. I can't remember who's on that this year. Somebody just asked me about it. Chair Norton, great opportunity. And the one that we appointed when I was on was Lauren Merkley. Ran into her again and had a good chat. Followed up at the First Ladies Show Up for Teachers. Again, had 47 great conversations and didn't go to a single session, but that's the fun of being there. And we got to talk to them. I got to talk to them about some of the ideas. We've been working on a business case, Vice Chair Hart, Member Davis, some new opportunities for teacher lanes of development and master teacher kind of stuff. And greatly appreciate hearing from them the challenges that they're facing on the front lines and what we can do about it from a policy level. And so that was a great opportunity. So that was my summer, and I just greatly appreciate all the work. Every time you go on the road and talk to folks, you just realize how many thousands of people spend their every waking moment thinking about Utah's kids, and all in their different lanes, different roles, interacting, bumping into each other, policy questions galore. But at the heart of that are just literally thousands of people wasting their brains away. How can I serve these kids? And so it's always inspiring and impressive, and I love that opportunity. I'll mention one more thing. We've had these focus groups going on. We completed the last of the three. So we had three areas. I think everybody's been able to go to one of these. And it's not an appointed task force. We're not taking votes, but we've had three groups of policymakers together: the LEAs, the state board, and the legislature. And we had one on neutrality and transparency, one on oversight, one on that's us. What do you know? And one on sensitive materials. So these are not really the visionary things. These are the points of contention where there's tough discussions going out there. There's disagreement. And just thought it would be a good idea for us to get together in our three lanes and say, you know what? We all represent the same constituents. How are we serving them? What can we learn from each other? What kind of questions are we facing? What might we come away with ideas to bring back to our bodies? So I want to just thank those from this board who attended those. We had some great neutrality discussion. We had people talking about different ways that they help their teachers and schools understand neutrality policies, had people ask about examples of discrimination in the schools, talked about definitions and whether we had enough. We talked about how teachers want to notice every difference, but does that raise challenges or concerns? Some tough topics, but a really cordial and open discussion. And Rich Nye, former USB, now over at Granite, talked about the degree of disruption. How can we neutralize that? So great things. I had a discussion with Senator Kwan following up on some of the concerns she raised there. USB oversight. And I'm not going to go through all this. I just want to say a couple of highlights because the point of these is to bring back ideas for discussion. We talked about USB oversight and where people are concerned that we're too loose, where people are concerned that we're too tight. Had a lot of questions about how, when one LEA is in trouble, do we have too much of overcompensating in the way of regulation or caps, this kind of thing? It's a question, it's a tough question. Our staff were wonderful to kind of sit in the hot seat, and we invited sort of, what's your input on USBE? And Deputy Superintendent Stallings said, you know what, we're always in learning mode, so we appreciate the input. And so we asked those questions, and we can go through these another time in terms of concrete suggestions. But we were asking LEAs, what can you do better? We're not here to bark at you. We're not here to yell at you and say you're doing it wrong. But what can we do better? And then we asked the same question of ourselves as an agency. And so I really appreciate our staff being willing to kind of take that input. We talked about areas that the legislature is concerned that we're too loose, and areas where the field might be concerned that we're too tight. And then we talked about books, because why not? So we took on the most challenging, I think, contentious issue out there, and had a great discussion from LEAs sharing how they went at it this last year. What do they do? What's working? What's not working? What are some questions that might inform the efforts to take care of this issue as we go into the next school year? And so, again, a lot of candid discussion, a lot of thought and suggestions. There were questions and suggestions to us about what we might do to clarify or give guidance. Again, those who are in these policy discussions, I think, hopefully, are going to filter in some thoughts as we move forward. And again, we're not taking votes. We're just understanding each other a little bit better, sharing information, and then bringing things back to our bodies. So hopefully some of that is going to come to us in the next month or two based on folks that were there. I'm not going to propose it because that's not the purpose of the meetings, but I just want to thank everybody for participating in this. It's kind of an experiment. One of the best things that came out of it was legislators saying, you know what? When we have constituents, we need to be going to you guys. We need to take our constituents to you guys at USBE, at the LEAs. We need to have these kind of discussions when we're talking together about this. And those discussions happen, but this was a really, I think, inspiring look around the table. 5 or 6 of these, 5 or 6 of those, 5 or 6 in that lane, all kind of in an opportunity there to see what we can do to move the ball forward. So I just want to thank everybody for participating. And if anybody had any particular feedback they wanted to share, feel free to jump in. I know time is limited, so probably not. But feel free as we go forward. Those who came back with input and said, you know what, this is something that USBE might consider. I hope that those who attended, that filters in to a thought, a policy option, something that you just bring back and say, you know what, here's my takeaway, and let's see about putting that on the agenda. So that's that for those focus groups. We're going to go into round 2 at the end of September, and I've had great discussions with Lexi Cunningham and others. They're talking in the LEAs. What did we learn? What can we do? And we come back in September. We talk about that. So looking forward to the next round. I'll finish with one thing. I just want to say thank you to somebody who's heading out here and leaving us, Brian Quisenberry. I just want to give a huge shout out and a thank you, because I'm a lawyer. My day job is to handle corporate clients, and I do things like Boeing and Disney and Marriott, small mom and pops that are first time trying to deal with labor and employment issues, and holy cow, this case is going to sink my company, or holy cow, the federal agency is after me, whatever. That's my day job, and it's a tough one. I think Brian's job is 10 times tougher. And so, this is a fast moving train. The questions come quick and furious. It is a very complicated political and legal situation. And he has just been invaluable to us in providing guidance under the gun, under pressure. and on deep evolving issues where the law is always not always clear. And so I appreciate the challenge of a lawyer looking at a floating, swirling body of statute and case law and trying to say, well, my guidance is this or this with this caveat. It's a tough gig. So I always want to thank Brian for all the work he's done for us. We'll greatly miss his guidance and his ability to help us under pressure when we have questions. And so I want to thank him and ask him if he would just give us one last throw of the yellow flag so that we can. Oh, come on. Yeah, we're still going. You're right. The night is young. You're right. There you go. Thank you, Brian. Let's hope. Well, thank you, Brian. And yeah, the night is young, so we'll still need your services, but appreciate all you've done for us, and we will miss you definitely.